Okay, in this example, I want this to take a few more seconds. So what we're going to do is we're going to trick this so they can do outbidding in a different way. So I'm going to say here, initialize that to 0. In JavaScript, I'm going to use this method called setTimeout. This takes a function, an anonymous function, as a parameter. So here I'm going to say open parentheses, arrow function, and that's the body. And this is how long it's going to pause. This is in milliseconds, so we're going to say 1,000 milliseconds, which is just 1 second. Now, in this area, I would do the logic where I say salary is equal to hours worked times hourly wage. So now this is going to slow it down by a second. So what is that going to do? Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say here, a salary for the advanced salary. We're going to type in advanced salary, type in the same 42 and $10, and I'm going to try to print out advanced salary. Okay. Now if I run this, let's clear the screen, let's note that. And let me see here, advanced salary. Oops, sorry, I meant to print out the variable, a salary. Let's run that again. Notice that it's 0. Now the reason that it's 0 is, remember what's going to happen. This function will execute this line. This setTimeout is going to take a second, so it's going to call this logic that's in the arrow function later on. So this is going to be done in the background. Then what's going to happen here is that this is going to return 0 here, and that's why you get the 0 down here. So when you have a function that takes a long time and it's a non-blocking function, meaning that it'll just continue, you want to use a technique where we do a callback. Okay, so returning a value here is useless because it's always going to return 0 based on this. Okay, and we even set the timeout to be a second. It couldn't even wait a second. It just passes and says, nope, I don't have time for that. And it went straight down here. Okay. So how do we resolve this? This is what you do. This portion is when the answer is done. So when it's executed here, what we're going to do is we're going to say here, call back. Oh, sorry. Call back. And I'll say salary. Now, just by looking at this, this looks like a function, okay? And it is a function that we're trying to create here. But this is a function that we're going to pass in. So here I'm going to say comma and call that call back. So that name matches this name. So the same way that I passed in a variable here and a variable here, I am passing a variable type that represents a function that takes in 1 parameter. So we're going to change this slightly here. This doesn't mean anything anymore. This returns salary here is useless, so we should just get rid of it completely. And now, to get something out of advanced salary, the second parameter will represent, the third parameter here will represent a callback. So if I do comma here, I need a function that takes in 1 parameter. So I'm going to put in an arrow function here. Okay. And here, I can handle the data, okay? When this function gets executed, it's actually executing this piece of code here. That piece of code will contain the data, so E will represent the salary that was passed along. So I'm going to say here, so you can see it, I'm going to say console log, I'll print out E, then I'll print out salary. I'm sorry, not salary, I'm sorry. I want to print out the word salary and E. And then let's say I wanted to do here net salary. And then I'll say here, E times, let's say he gets to keep home 75%. Because now I have access to the data from outside of the function. Let's save it. Clear the screen. Oop, what happened? Let's see, call back. Did I spell something wrong? Let's see here, call back here, call back there. It's trying to see, it's telling me I spelled something wrong. Let's see. I don't think I spelled anything wrong. I'll clear this. Oops. Clear the screen. Let me run it one more time. Okay, import. Why is it asking me about an import? Let's see here. Call back here, call back there. E salary here. I'm trying to see if I made a mistake somewhere. This is telling me on line 1. Oh, for some reason this must have got put in. I didn't realize that, so I don't know why it's there. Save it. Let's clear the screen. Let's run it one more time. Okay, a salary. Let's see. Oh, the old console is not going to work. We don't have a salary defined anymore, so let me get rid of that. And now I hope it works. Okay. So notice when this came right away, because I paused it, it's going to take a few seconds. And just to make this clear, let's say I'm going to increase the pause time to, let's say, 3 seconds. Okay, 3 seconds. Okay. Let's run it again. And notice the other answer doesn't come in, but when it's good and ready, because of my callback method, I have access to process this data when it's ready. So that's why I have to use this callback technique. If I try to return the value, it won't work. I hope that explained it a little bit better. With that, good luck and good coding.